So having looked at why athletes might take drugs, some of the consequences of taking drugs, we're gonna and also a little bit in terms of the solutions, the possible things that can be done. Just going to finish off by looking at some of the agencies and this discussion of should drug taking be allowed or not, the drug debate. So the key anti-drug agencies are listed here. So let's have a look at each one. So WADA obviously is the international agency which oversees and dictates which drugs are allowed or in what proportions are allowed in terms of each sport, and they will do a lot of the testing trying to stop drug taking in sport. UK Sport, our home country elite sport organisation, also has specific guidelines for our elite athletes and tries to educate them and advise them and warn them of the consequences. The UK Anti-Doping Agency obviously is quite critical in terms of monitoring and testing these, and again you can see lots of bits of advice a little bit closer up there. It's very much worth popping onto the website, particularly looking at this strategy here, 100% Me, whereby athletes are educated and supported and guided, and it really promotes anti-doping, so it encourages young and upcoming athletes to go make the right choices, obviously with key role models here, and it's very much a label. If you are engaged and part of this, it says a lot about you as an athlete and as a person. Then national governing bodies will also have some guidance and support for their performers to direct them in terms of acceptable drug taking or limitations. So let's get on to the drug debate, really. Is drug taking really so bad in sport? Is there any reason why it shouldn't be allowed in sport? We tend to frown on it culturally, but why? And really we've got two conflicting ideas. We've got our sort of normal anti-drugs, anti-doping, test everybody, make sure we catch the people that are guilty of taking drugs, anti-drug side, but we've got the radical counterculture, and this in theory challenges our norm and says, well, why don't we accept drugs in sport, make it available to everybody, allow it for everybody, and then there's no reason why athletes shouldn't push the boundaries of their performance and take drugs if they wish to. So London 2012 Olympics, random raids to beat drug cheats. So certain athletes were caught. 9 track and field athletes were caught and suspended by the International Athletic Federation. And basically WADA is standing up here and making a statement that more and more testing will happen, more sophisticated tests will be designed to detect drugs, and more money is being put into the labs, and basically it's a warning that people shouldn't take drugs or else there'll be serious consequences. However, we've got this greyness, because testing doesn't necessarily, or does it necessarily, lead to cleaner games. We've got our British athlete Dwayne Chambers here, who did compete in the 2012 Olympics despite having been caught and banned from athletics for 2 years, and banned originally from the Olympics for life. Now, there are certain sports like athletics, swimming and cycling and rowing who make their athletes have a series of tests, and they basically create a profile for them, a biometric passport, what these athletes are typically physiologically like. And what this does is say, if there are any dramatic changes from this profile, then something is abnormal, something is astray. Perhaps we could have more sports doing that. Lots of athletes have been banned from drugs, as I said, Dwayne Chambers was, and the British Olympic Association banned him for life from the Olympics. However, he challenged this decision. He served his 2 years of non-performing, and then he basically went to court and challenged this lifetime ban in the Olympics, which actually he won, and therefore he was allowed to train and compete and qualify for the Olympics, as he did. So really, unfortunately, this sheds a very grey shadow over the rigidity or the strictness of the testing and the bans. So I'd like you to watch this video and see what you make of that.
Man, it's your boy, Mr. Nick Bag TV, aka Blogaholic, back in the building, back in the flesh. Right now, I gotta talk about this mess, man. All of these people against performance-enhancing drugs being out of sports and all this and that, and A-Rob is a cheater, and it's, I mean, forget all that, man. Let's get with the real. As a person who loves sports, love watching sports, I'll put it like this. If you're making $5 million a year, and you have to take a certain drug so your body won't break down, so you can recover from injuries faster, so you can hit the ball longer, run faster, be a stronger competitor, by all means, do it. Especially if you're from my team. I want my whole team juiced up because I want to win. And that's their body. Pretty much. It's like, why are we so concerned over grown men that make so much money, that plays the kids' game? They want to put drugs in their body to play the kids' game better. Let them be idiots, and let's forget about it, man. Who knows what those drugs actually do, the effects of them drugs? Who really cares? Especially if you're playing football. You're going to be brain dead anyway. You might as well drug up while you get brain dead, right? You might as well enjoy it while you last. Run faster, get stronger, die at 40. That's your life. Why are people so much into it? It's not fair. It's an uneven playing field. It's giving someone a competitive edge. That's what life is all about, getting the edge. I don't look at it as cheating. It's getting the edge. As long as you're not cheating to the point where refs is calling calls that's going to directly affect the game, I don't care. I don't even believe that a person can take a drug and become a big-time Hall of Fame baseball star and can hit 60, 70 home runs a year just because they popped a couple pills. It doesn't make any sense, and people believe that. It's the same people who should believe in Santa Claus. Like, are you kidding me? Are you telling me right now I can take a couple of PEDs and possibly be in the NBA? No! You still need skill. You still need ability. Those drugs, I don't know what they actually do, but whatever they do, who cares? Why are we so focused on them things? You know why we focused on them? Because the government and the NBA, MLB, NFL does not know how to profit from them. That's outside of their scope. They can't control the athlete. They can't control the way on how to make money. Trust me, if they can make money off these pills and have their own doctor making specialized pills for their own players, they'd be all for it. They'd be all doing it. They'd be fighting for it, saying, this is a biochemist under our team. He's our bio. You know, it makes sports that much interesting to me because then, instead of kids who don't have athletic ability, instead of them trying to get to the pros by playing football, smart kids could be biochemists and get drafted to the Patriots for making a drug to make all their players run 2.2 seconds faster. You feel me? Tom Brady can now throw the ball 10 yards longer, a half a second faster. I think it'd be great for sports to start drafting biochemists. Every sports had a biochemist team. Wouldn't that be great? You drafting players, and after the draft, you draft the biochemist, drafting first draft pick from Harvard, such and such, Vihad, I don't know, Patel, you know, them guys. Like, come on, man, let's get a biochemist draft, let's get it going, let's get it popping, let's get everybody juiced up, let's break all the records, and just have some absurd plan. I want to see somebody run for 300 yards in one game, throw for 700 yards, all of PEDs. It'd be great, wouldn't it? It'd be great. Ain't your boy.
Well, he was pretty powerful, so let's just have a look at another video to see the flip side of that argument.
The community closes down. Go to the high school football game, it's tremendous pressure for these kids, and they all have that dream of being a college scholarship or an NFL player. There's a lot of heartbreaking stories. It's such a bad drug that once they start taking it, it's very difficult to stop. I looked at him, it was very obvious he was doing steroids. All the classic symptoms of just a bloated body and acne and an attitude and that roid rage that they talk about. He was just, he looked deformed.
He was making bad decisions, he was getting in a ton of trouble in school, and our track coach put his arm around him and said, "You're a runner," and the kid responded right away. And he ended up being a college athlete. He was a county champ at high school, and he turned the corner quickly. I'm teaching the kids. I talk to the kids. Today in football practice, I don't know how much football I taught, but I was talking to the kids. I just like the relationships I have with the other coaches, with the other teachers, but specifically with the kids. I just enjoy being in this environment. A lot of times you just flat out ask the kid, you got something going on, you're acting differently, you're changing, and you see what type of feedback the student gives. And sometimes the student will open the door a crack, and you jump in and attack it. We don't even know some of the times of when we're influencing a kid, but something we said might be in their head at 9 o'clock when The joint is being passed around.
I have kids who are 10 years younger than me that I coached. I mean, they're 50 years old now, calling me. Without you, I would never have been to college. Without you, I would have been in jail. Without you, we know drug use would have sent them right downhill.
So, two very contrasting perspectives on drug taking. Let's have a little look through some of the factors that might influence these arguments. So, the pro-drug taking argument. It's a modern culture, modern sport. Why not have the freedom of choice to be able to do that? You know, drugs is very, very current. If everybody can do it and has the opportunity to do it, then surely it's fair. It makes it a level playing field. It can be more entertaining for the spectators, throwing further, running faster, you know, much more exciting in that way. And actually there's some ambiguity in the rules that are in place because certain drugs are allowed, certain ones aren't. Surgery, which can have some positive effect on injuries, for example, is allowed or isn't it allowed. If athletes are tested or are found guilty of taking them or are accused or wrongly accused, then that can, you know, really destroy their reputation anyway. What about the concept of having two types of Olympics, one which is clean and one which is open to drug taking? Just some really alternative approaches. Then the anti-drug taking. Sport should be about skill and finesse. It shouldn't be false and about drugs. You know, obviously they're incredibly harmful, can be addictive and can lead to death. Some young athletes may be coerced into taking them with pressure from their coaches, from their drugs, from other role models, athletes they look up to. And actually it wouldn't be a level playing field because not everybody can afford the drugs. You know, poor countries, poor athletes wouldn't have access or the money to do that. Why should we just give in to it? Because some people do get away with it. It shouldn't be about surrendering to drugs. We should have reform. We should deal with it, sort it out. We need to improve our testing. We need to improve our research. We need to more money put into this process to try to counter it. Athletes in the Olympics take the oath and claim that they will be honest and not cheat and not take drugs. It should be a clean Olympics. So two contrasting debate sides, which probably there are more arguments to be said apart from these points. However, there are difficulties. You know, even though in 2012 there were 5,000 tests on athletes, that's 10% more than in Beijing. There is, you know, £10 million was put into a really high-spec testing facility in London. But it doesn't necessarily mean that is the answer. Even though more testing may have happened. So here's some data. In Athens, 26 positive tests were found from 3,667 samples. And in 2008, more samples were taken and less tests were positive. You would see that possibly as being good, but maybe not. In the World Championships, Athletic Championships 2011 in Dachau, all athletes were tested and there were no positive results. Is that a good thing? Are athletes actually cleaner, or are they better at deceiving us and manipulating the tests and playing the game, getting masking agents? And actually, what about things like blood doping, which actually is an increase in red blood cells, which you can get from altitude training and natural ways? How do you determine from blood volume or blood analysis if it is illegally obtained or naturally obtained? There are real issues in this. So you need to establish arguments both for and against drug taking in sport and make sure you can discuss that and possibly analyse that in an exam question.